Welcome back, everyone. Phones have gotten really good at shooting pictures over the last decade, so much so that most people just shoot on their phone. And if you're on Instagram or on Twitter, sometimes it's really hard to tell if the photos you're seeing are from a phone or from a camera. So the question I'm trying to answer today is, how hard is it to tell photos from dedicated cameras and phones apart? So my goal today is to see if I can take a set of images that I've shot on both my phone and my main camera and see if I can trick my friends into misidentifying the photos from each device. So let's go grab some images and make it happen. So for shooting photos to make these as accurate as possible, shooting on the wide lens on the iPhone is a 26mm equivalent for full frame sensors. So I'll be shooting at 26mm on here to make sure that these look as accurate to this as possible. And for shooting on the telephoto, if I do any of that, that is a 65mm equivalent. And so I'll be shooting at 65 on here as well. So I have my 24-70 that I'll be using so that all of my shots are on the same lens, same body, and same lens, same body, so that these seem as equivalent as possible and there's not a bunch of variations in the photos that I'm taking. After shooting a few images in the white winter landscape that is Montana in January, I decided that it was just too cold and there just were too few colors in the environment for me to get what I needed. So I headed out and headed home so I could grab the last few images to give this set of photos nice variety for this challenge. After grabbing the last few remaining images, I edited them up to look nice and similar, grabbed my friends, and we got started. So, I brought you guys here today. I have Sam, I have Michael. So I went and shot out a set of images on my iPhone 12, and I went and shot the same set of images on my A7 III. And I've gone and edited them, and your guys' job today is to try to tell these photos apart. How do you guys think you're gonna do with this? Sam, you don't have a whole lot of photo background. Michael, you have quite a bit. How do you guys think you're gonna do?
Yeah, so I'm going in blind. I think if I can get a couple, I'll be happy. I'll say that.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not going in with very strong confidence. I'm so bad at these games. I always overthink it, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Oh God, this is gonna be so hard already.
All right, so this first image is at McDonald Lake. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I would say it's clearer on that left one there. And I'm going to just be guessing here that the Sony A769 is going to be working better than the iPhone. So it's looking a little clearer on the left. And I'm going to go say that's the Sony camera. And the one on the right's the iPhone Max 12-9.
All right, yeah, I was trying to look at black values because it looks like focus is pretty deep throughout the whole image. But I'm going to say Sony's on the left.
This first one, you are both correct.
All
the
right,
one on the
Sam.
right is the iPhone photo. The one on the left is the Sony photo.
Okay.
I understand.
See, I just think it's funny how you, Sam, were like, I'm just going to go with my gut. And you're right immediately. And I'm like, let me take 2 minutes to really look at this closely because I'm afraid of being wrong here.
All right.
I already have a guess on this one, but I want Sam to go first.
So this one is a shot of my car. And you have some the snow, my car, the sky, a little bit of trees.
The last two photos, the one on the right, which happened to be the iPhone one, was a little bit darker. And I don't know, you said something about dark values or black values, maybe,
yeah, black
Mike?
values.
And I'm going to say the one on the right now also has some darker blacks to it. And so I'm starting to think a little bit more analytically about it. I'm going to say, again, the one on the right is going to be the iPhone 12 Pro Max flags.
That's actually the same conclusion I came to. And it was just looking at the black values. Like there's much more bit depth over on the left image you can see, especially when you look at the body of the car. And so for that reason, I'm going with the left image being the Sony image.
You're both wrong.
All right, Sam.
The one on the right.
Nice. It's been real.
50-50.
Yeah, the one on the left was the iPhone image, which is crazy because if you look at this, I think what the telling tale for this photo is that when I was editing these, I noticed that the iPhone caught a lot more detail due to its HDR capabilities because it's taking multiple exposures to put it all together. And so it feels like way more contrasty. And I tried to kind of match it on this photo, but there's just a lot. It's not like not sharp. It's still a really sharp image, but it just feels a little bit softer, which is whereas on the iPhone image, it just feels like really punchy.
And I like the iPhone image more on this one.
Okay. Kill myself.
Yeah, I actually do too.
Yeah.
This is on the Sony A7 III, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. 50%, Sam.
50% so far, guys.
We
You're
need
doing
to
great.
up this.
All right. Here we go.
Oh,
Next
it looks
one.
like we got a car door.
Yeah. So we got a car door with the mountain framed through the car door.
Mike, you can go first on this one, and then I'll clean us up.
Yeah, this right image looks like our good old Subaru sticker zoom. We're losing a lot of quality on very quickly.
That's true.
Getting hella into the pixels here. The left one is much crisper and cleaner. The main reason I started zooming in was just to see if I could notice any depth of field change between the two, because it looked like there was more depth of field on the left one. And so let's...
Do you think this blurriness of the Subaru sticker is depth of field issue or just quality? Or am I just swimming in lava right now?
Well, check this out. Look at this mountain,
Yeah.
and then look at this mountain.
Yes.
So for that reason, I'm going to say left is Sony.
Okay.
Just because we're seeing a bigger separation from the foreground and the background, which is going to be due to the lens. And the iPhone doesn't do that unless you're in portrait mode.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'll go...
And also, I think the one on the right, you can see it's a little bit wider of an image.
Okay.
And so I'm going to attribute that to the iPhone.
I'll go more from the gut and say that this was more of a shot in the dark for me. I don't understand focal lengths or apertures. So I'm going to say the one on the left is going to be, and I don't even remember what you said, Mike, but the one on the left is going to be the iPhone.
So on this one, Michael is correct. The one on the right is the iPhone image, and that giveaway of that depth of field is really where that's where like the big giveaway in the image is, and you can see the details in the stickers as well. So the left is the Sony image.
I'm just disappointed that I have to look that closely to be able to tell the difference between iPhone and Sony. You know?
None of these are like snap.
Yeah, it's not like I mean, I have a gut reaction, but because we're filming this, I want to be a little bit more sure.
Yeah, totally.
And so far, my gut reactions have been, well, I guess 2/3 right. So
right.
again, damn.
Next one. There's not a lot happening
Hella
in this
highlights
image.
here, okay.
Hella highlights. Very little as far as like details go.
So this is of a cabin just in an open field with a white sky.
This is a big ass barn on a field. So let's go first. Let's go. What is your like gut reaction? Like very quickly, and then let's dig into it.
Gut reaction, Sony's on the left.
Yes, that was my gut reaction to iPhone on the right. There's like a defined line of grass going through the middle of the photo, and it seems more defined on the right. It seems more crisp, and I think that is a depth of field issue, the same as we saw in the last photo. And I might just be totally off here, but I think it does look a little crisper on the right. Am I wrong, Mike?
Yeah, I was mostly just looking at the cabin, and I don't know, when you zoom in on some iPhone images, it kind of looks like some textures become almost watercolory.
And that's what's happening.
And that's what looks like it's happening here on the side of the roof. Yeah, I'm going to stay with my guess of Sony on the left, iPhone on the right, just after zooming in on that barn.
Yeah, I'm going with it.
So you guys both said that Sony's on the left and iPhone's on the right, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you are both wrong.
All right.
No. You're correct, yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good. I was like, we can't go back to 50-50,
I know.
dude.
Yeah, okay, so you guys are
stack
correct.
some wins. All right,
honestly,
baby.
I think if I had to guess this one, I would have got it wrong because when I come into this image, I would have been like, oh, this is iPhone noise. Absolutely.
That's the thing is like, here, zoom way in on the Sony one and then zoom way in on the iPhone one, and I'll tell you what my thinking was. Okay, it's just that we're seeing there's a lot more kind of texture bleeding going on here,
totally.
and it looks a bit smudgier and a bit more watercolory, whereas this one, it's a kind of noise, but it almost looks like it could be chromatic aberration, and so...
Yeah, it's just like...
this looks to me, if you're just doing the hella cropped in version of the barn, I'm like, that's iPhone, 100%.
Yeah. I think the giveaway here is the lines on the roof. The iPhone doesn't have any of those details in there.
And look at the lumber lines here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can actually see... It's not very clear, but you can see each like wooden slat, whereas on here, it's just like kind of mushy. So yeah, that's a good call. Next image. All right, so we have an image of two really old gas pumps. A lot more color going on. That was kind of the goal of this one. Okay, so what are your guys' gut reactions on this one?
All right, Sam, you get to go first.
Okay.
If you want me to steer or drive anywhere, let me know.
I hear you. Let's zoom in on that. The base of that, the blue. Okay, and we're seeing some scratches and some detail here. Now let's go to the other one. They're both pretty defined. I'm feeling like the one on the left is a bit more crisp than the one on the right, and this is the only thing I'm working off of. I'm gonna say the one on the right is gonna be the iPhone.
Yeah, it looks like the right image is retaining highlights a little bit better.
Did the Sony image retain highlights because it has a better
Dynamic range, right?
or does the iPhone retain highlights better because it takes like 5 shots and presses them together?
Yeah, it's tricky.
So what are you thinking right now, Mike?
I'm thinking right now we got Sony on the right and an iPhone on the left.
Okay.
That's my gut reaction. Also, the other reason isn't just the details on these stickers, but it's the way that the reds are rendered on the stairs and on the barrel. This is a closer to like a true red or like a blood red kind of, and then this one has a lot more orange in
That's
it.
true, yeah.
And so for that reason, I'm going to say Sony's on the right.
Okay.
All right, so you guys are correct. The Sony is on the right. The iPhone is on the left.
Actually, if we're not even looking at details, the reds was the first thing that was like my first red flag, I guess, so to speak. But the one that I'm looking at now that I didn't really pay attention to is this shadow that comes down on the corner of the building, and you see in here there's a much smaller difference between the darkest and brightest point, whereas on the Sony image you can tell there's a lot more of a difference here.
Number 6. All right. I think,
this was shot on Canon.
Yeah, this is Canon. I think this one's going to be the most obvious, but I'm not going to say anything.
All right, I already know. Let's see what Sam says. I don't want to get.
I mean, they're pretty different pictures just because of the focal depth.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean a lot to me. I don't really know how to read that. If I was going to take a photo on my iPhone, what would it probably do? I'm going to say the iPhone's going to be on the left.
And it's also worth considering, Sam, that you have a very different iPhone too, and the camera tech has improved quite drastically.
Yeah, I got an iPhone 8, I think. So.
And Sam, how would you go about explaining the two differences of depth of field here? I'm just curious from your perspective. So we have a blurred out foreground here.
Sure.
Whereas on the second image we have more of a blurred out background,
yes.
but the foreground and the lens seem to be in. So
yes.
there's depth of field going on in both images.
Yes, absolutely. But they're just quite different, and I don't know the correct terms here. But you're gonna have more fine tuning of that focal depth when you're shooting on the Sony.
Michael, what's your guess?
Oh man, the different focal length or like the different
like depth of field.
Depth of field actually kind of threw me off a little bit.
But to be honest, I think it's throwing you off more than it should because I did screw up, and because the focus on the left image is on the Canon logo and the focus point on the right image is on the front of the lens. So like that is kind of messing up. Yeah. I think it's making the depth of field feel more different than it actually is in this photo. But I think there's one detail to this that should be like a blatant giveaway as to like which one's which.
Yeah, my guess right now is the left is Sony.
Yeah. Okay. So you are correct. Left is Sony.
All right.
And I think the big giveaway is how the depth of field fall off, like the focus fall off, is way more natural on this right side. It's like really out of focus in the foreground, and then mildly out of focus in the mid, and then backwards actually in focus.
Totally.
Whereas here it's like pretty in focus in the foreground, like it's like just off, and then really in focus, and then like really drops off.
Yeah, and you would expect it to be even. And so just to go from like almost no fall off to immediate fall off. And I don't know, just the way that the sharpness is rendered on the lens looks very cellular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like
a cell phone.
It's almost too sharp.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
it looks like a sharpening brush was taken to it.
Yeah, totally. Which I mean, props to iPhone for being able to shoot that sharp. You guys ready? 3 more. Number 7. All right. We have 2 slightly different pictures of Thea because she does not sit still. I think this one should be pretty obvious if you know what to look for. But yeah, you guys just give your gut. I'm going to say no pixel peeping on this one. Just try to figure it out from the wide.
All right, Sam, you got this first.
Yeah. So there's a little bit more definition on the plants, especially on that left plant on the right image. Also, generally on that back shelf with the lenses and the cameras, there is a little bit more definition on the right picture as well. It's a little bit crisper. What's the word? And I don't know what that means. I can find the differences in a photo. I'm going to say the left is the iPhone.
I would agree. My reasoning for that is just because I was just looking at the stool on the left image, and it looks like the front and back leg are in the same plane, which is impossible. Whereas on the right image, there's just it's a little bit softer. That was my gut reaction.
Wow.
So you guys are both correct. The iPhone image is on the left.
That one's on you, baby.
And I think Michael grabbed the reason. Basically, it's kind of like this last image. The way that iPhones shoot portrait mode, because this is a portrait mode shot on the telephoto, until like iPhones get so good at like computing that depth information and how to have the focus fall off, it's always going to look more natural falling off on the camera because it's just how it looks. It's on a real lens. Yeah, it's a real lens. So yeah, these legs are out of focus. I think the big thing, if you were to focus, how sharp the edge of the stool is on the back. How it's like the focus fall off is really weird. Like it's catching the stool and Thea, and all of that is in focus, and then everything else is really blurred in the iPhone shot. And then if you look at her fur, there's focus fall off on the fur, whereas that's in the same plane as the edge of the stool basically, and this isn't in focus and this is. So like it's still kind of guessing exactly where it should be, whereas obviously this one is perfect. All of that fall off is really, really pretty. So like, yeah, that's like kind of the most obvious thing is I was worried you guys were gonna look at the edges of her fur and just be like, oh, very obviously it like doesn't quite fall off properly.
The Sony portrait is a great portrait, by the way.
Thanks. This one we have an image of some person's front gate, and it's a refrigerator door, and then there's just like a lot of random details. There's a lot going on in this frame.
I'm going to challenge myself to do no more pixel peeking for the rest of these.
Okay.
All right, I just want to look at these for a second.
Right off the bat, I'll see those American flags are definitely different tones. The one on the right is much darker.
I know what's what.
Oh wow! So that's the one on the right is definitely going to be the iPhone.
You're right, dude.
Yeah.
And it just
what gave it away for you?
It just looked better. The one on the left, it just looked better, and I don't know why.
Okay, I would say the big giveaway here is the leaves. You look at it now. We can pixel peep since we got our guesses in already, but look at these leaves. Look at these leaves.
Yeah. Just not as defined.
So yeah, nice job, guys. You guys got nailed that one.
Nice.
Last one, dude.
All right, last image.
Oh, this is
kind of
cool.
similar. Just a old rustic truck. Got a lot of kind of odd color tones in this image. Go for it.
Okay. I'd say that right one, that second one we looked at full screen, is going to be the Sony.
I'm going to disagree and say the left one is the Sony and the right one is the iPhone.
All right.
Why?
My reasoning, or Sam, do you have any reasoning, or are you just going off the gut? Okay, now that my vote's in, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the body of the truck. It just looked like there was more of an HDR vibe kind of going on the body of the right truck, and on the left truck, it felt like deeper and more natural shadows. And so for that reason, and that's the only reason I have, I'm going to go with the left image being the Sony and the right being the iPhone.
Well, that is correct. The right image is the iPhone, and the left image is the Sony. So yeah, nice job, guys. Damn. How many did you get right, Sam? 3. I think I got 4 right, and
I only missed 1.
Yeah, you missed 1. Nice.
The second one.
Nice. Well, nice job, guys. Thanks for hopping in on that with me. I mean, I guess it's just kind of a testament to like how good phones are getting. I think that's kind of the takeaway is like phones are getting really good. They're not going to replace cameras. Like someone who knows what they're doing can still grab the correct image. But yeah, I think that just, shoot with what you have and have fun with it. But yeah, thanks again for joining me, guys. And I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Peace.